Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Deployment 101. If this is your first war, it's going to be exciting. We are just over 7 days, we're 8 days away from July 5th, which is when the NIP between Legacy and the Imperium comes to an end. We ended it, and the goal is to provide content with a good, fun war. What is a NIP? A NIP, or an NIP, stands for Non-Invasion Pact. It's basically a truce, which between us and the Imperium, which is Goonswarm and allies, for the past 3 years, has maintained a safe border. We do not attack their structures, we do not invade their space, they do not attack our structures or invade our space. So we can both safely focus on other fronts. Recently this has been for Brave, for Really Unsimple Farmers, and for Legacy, a couple of deployment fleets over to Cache, having the proxy war over there. But now the NIP is coming to an end, and that means that we can attack Goonswarm space and allied space. We can attack Goonswarm and allied structures. For example, Goons have a Fortizar in HY TAC nearby. This has been great content for us because they can bring fleets and dock up there. But we could never shoot it, since it's a Goon structure protected by the NIP. After July 5th, we are free to blow it up if we want to, and they are free to defend it. So a quote-unquote, Shattered says, totally not a war, but also we all know it's going to be a war. We'll be kicking off soon. This isn't going to be a flash, one and done in a week kind of thing. It's going to be long and drawn out. It's going to take a course over months. This is a war for content. We are in no danger of losing our space in Catch or Impasse at this time. All the fighting will take place elsewhere. It'll be good fun. War is good. We've been at peace for the last couple of years, ever since UALX ended the last war in our favor. Goonswarm helped with that. They sent a super fleet to aid us in that fight. So they've been kind of blue troll to us for a while. But the blue donut is too large. Things are getting stagnant. There's no real big fights going on. So we're going to break that up and cause some excitement, stir up some trouble. War is great, especially in EVE. There's action, there's drama, there's huge battles, there's profit, there's loss. But most importantly, it's an opportunity for improvement and advancement. There's going to be so many different kinds of fleets going on. Lots of organizations, lots of individual opportunities, hunting, scouting, logistics, everything. It's a great time to come together and fly with other people that you wouldn't normally fly with. Legacy is one big family. We're all going to pull together and see what we can pull off out here. A couple things you should know. We are going to get a new deployment staging. Ours is currently in ZXIC, as you all know. It's only one Antiplex and a gate away from GE, so it's very close. The next one may not be so. And we're going to have multiple deployments to multiple stagings. Because if the war progresses smoothly and we start winning, we're going to keep moving further and further away from GE towards the battle lines. First thing you're going to need is a jump clone. What is a jump clone? A jump clone allows you to install it, and you can install a jump clone in a citadel that has an active cloning service running. It allows you to teleport your consciousness from any other citadel or the clone service to that jump clone. This is different from your medical death clone. You can always get back to your medical death clone instantly by self-destructing in a citadel, or doing a 2-minute self-destruct anywhere in space. But jump clones have a cooldown timer. You can only jump to a jump clone remotely, once every 24 hours. That can be reduced by skills to a degree. You can also install multiple jump clones by training up the skill Infomorph Psychology. So there are two kinds of clone deployments. There's a jump clone deployment, where leadership will say, put a jump clone in this new system, and we're going to ping fleets, once every couple days, and we're going to tell you to jump clone to that system, participate in the fleet, and then death clone back to your regular staging, which is maybe G or PZMA. The more serious deployment would be a death clone deployment, where Alliance leadership says, everybody put your death clones in the new staging. So that becomes your respawn point when you die anywhere. And you have to jump clone back to your preferred mining or ratting space and catch your impasse. You absolutely need to put a clone in these stagings, either jump clone or death clone. Otherwise you're going to miss fleets. It's going to be too far away from G to get there in a short order, Although you can use an interceptor, but you'll be delayed. You may miss flash form fleets. This is kind of a big deal. We're going to mobilize the whole alliance, so there will be Moveups. These are pre-pinged logistics operations where jump freighter pilots and capital pilots and Titan pilots all come together and help you move ships from GE or ZXIC, or maybe even from PZMA, up to and across to the new staging. You can fly your own fitted ships by taking the Titan bridges. They happen every half hour usually. You can also contract your ships and your fits and your modules to jump freighter services, or trustworthy capital pilots can move ships for you as well in their maintenance arrays.
Yeah, Harold, one thing on that. Just, it would be unfit ships for jump freighters.
Yes, that is an important thing to note. If you have rigs fitted to your ships, they are considered assembled, and they can only be moved by carriers in their ship maintenance hangar arrays. If you're preparing ships for this war, make sure they are unpackaged, and you just have the fit separate, or at the very least you have the rigs still in the cargo, so they can be easily disassembled and shipped. Make sure you use a proper courier contract if you're using a jump freighter service, and that you keep track of whose ships and what you're giving them to and who's moving them for you. And you should also be polite and pay the capital pilots to help you move stuff. We will have a new market in the staging. It's going to start out very small and bare bones though, because we're just all showing up with the coalition out of nowhere. There will be efforts to stock it. It's going to start off with a certain couple priority doctrines, and then slowly expand as more industrialists get in behind it. So make sure you bring as much stuff as you can, if you're able to. Don't bring everything. Don't put all your eggs in one basket. But bring as much as you can, and buy what you can when you're there. Prices will be higher. That's natural, because it takes more effort to get things out there. It's also higher risk, but there's also higher reward there as well. If you want to help out the market by importing, well, there's chat service messing up. If you want to help the market, you can import your own things. We have multiple hauling services available to us in just public and high sec, and also very little toaster. You can dabble your toes into buying things in JITA, shipping them down, jump freighting them into our space, and then moving them over to the market and then selling them yourself. You are free to list things at whatever price you want. The only rule on markets in Brave is you're not allowed to buy out a market and then relist things at a higher price. That's called blue fucking. But if you import a module from JITA, paid for it yourself, moved it over, or you built it yourself if you're an industrialist, you can sell it for whatever you want. Double, triple, you name your own price. Whether or not people buy it, that's their choice. I, for one, would intend to be selling quite a number of things for hefty markups, because there's going to be big demand. All these PvPers who've been ratting and mining for 2 years, saving up their wallets, now they have an opportunity. But the real struggle with the ore nerfs especially is going to be providing the ships and the fits in the location where they are needed. That's a premium demand. If you can supply that, then the profit is yours to make. Stagings are going to change. Our initial staging may last days, it may last for weeks. Who knows? It could last hours. So be mobile, keep as much stuff packaged as you can, and be ready to do another move up when we move forward again. And don't put too much on the market at once, because that sort of thing can happen. If you do want to invest in market stuff, only list part of it at a time. There's always the risk of some big fish industrialist selling 100 times your volume at half the price. So just put up a few things at a time, see if they sell, and if they do, put up a few more. We will be fighting this war alongside Test. Test is very big, very heavy wallets. If they're the same staging we are, it's going to be a lot easier for you to find ships and fits. That doesn't mean you can't help out the market by providing modules for one or two things that are, kind of Brave specific doctrines. That'd be really helpful. There's a lot of hype generating around this, and it's important that you remember to relax. EVE Online is a game, and we here in Brave, we care about you having fun. I'm here to have fun, and I'm here to help you have fun, and I hope you're here to have fun. If you want to log in, log in. If you don't, then don't. There will be no end of stratops going out for this war involvement. Pick your time, pick your place, pick your ships as you want to play, and you'll find it much more enjoyable. It's very easy to burn out. I know I did in the past. I was chaining stratops, 9 hours a day. It was unhealthy. Don't do that. There are different levels of stratop importance. There's, let's poke the bear, see if we get a fight stratops. There are, okay, we're defending something, mildly important stratops. And then there's structure timer, armor timer, we really need to be here to attack or defend, please show up for this timers. And then you've got the super rare, all hands on deck CTAs. Those are the super exciting super cat fights that happen sometimes. Those are once in a blue moon. But all the fights leading up to it create the opportunity for those fights to happen, the big ones. Mining and ratting is going to become more difficult in our home space of Catch and Impasse. We might have campers, we might have groups coming in to harass us more often. We're going to have decreased member presence just because some people are going to be deployed fully to the new staging, so they're less likely to be hanging around in GE or PZMA area. Be aware, pay attention to local, be in fleet, watch intel channels, be on mumble comms. Even if you don't talk, that's fine, but as long as you can hear other people, relaying intel is super important. And make sure that if you are around, help out your friends who need it. If there is a ping to save a Rorqual, definitely go save them. We need those Rorqual pilots alive and fueling the fires of industry. Rorqual pilots are our lifeblood, and all miners in general. With the recent ore nerf, it's going to be a big push for industry guys to manufacture and mine the raw materials we need to make the ships that all the PvPers need to go out and blow up and have fun with. It might be a good idea to find an alternative source of income. If you have an alt that can run high-sec incursions, that's always a good option during a war. If you can find something new that's less intensive, maybe PI is a nice passive form of income. Maybe just a smaller ship, or trying a new format. Maybe try ratting if you normally mine, maybe try mining if you normally rat. Mix things up. Keep ISK making interesting, because you're going to have to do it. War gets expensive. There's going to be a lot of fights. If you go on a lot of fleets, you're going to lose a lot of ships. There is Alliance SRP to help you cover those losses, but that's not 100%. You're going to have to still keep making money. And be careful not to put too much money into it. A good idea is to have a personal limit. Set your own arbitrary balance of liquid ISK you want to keep in your wallet. And if you hit that point, stop buying PvP ships for a little while. Go make some ISK. And then once you're above that level again, you can come back to the deployment and buy more offensive ships and go on more fleets. That way you don't burn out and end up poor and penniless. The war is going to be long term. It's better if you go on 1 fleet a week for the entire duration than going on 10 fleets a week at the start and burning out and losing all your money. We don't want that. If you need to get across space, interceptors are amazing. They're the Tech 2 frigates, very useful for traveling. Because there's a limit on jump coin activation, if you need to get back and forth between multiple regions multiple times a day, then you basically need a travel interceptor. Those are very useful. Any questions about what I've covered so far? Okay, we have numerous doctrines in Brave. We're even expanding into armor doctrines, if you can believe it. Mercurials and some such nonsense. With the new deployment, there's going to be, again, a new priority for ships to have. Please follow those if you can. Pick one ship at the top of the priority that you can fly, and have one of those. You don't need multiple expensive ships, but you do need multiple cheap ships. I recommend everybody has at least a couple Tech 1 Tactical and Tech 1 E-War frigates. Fit it up, either bring with you or buy when you get there. Logi is going to be super important. Logistics pilots, you are amazing. They are the backbone of every fleet. If we don't have enough Logi, then we lose more ships. If we have more than enough Logi, then potentially nobody dies. That's amazing. Logi wins wars. If you can fly Logi, please do. If you can turn into Logi, please consider it. You are the space healers. We love you.